This video is looking at the pronunciation of past tense regular verbs. That's those verbs that end in ed when in the past tense. And the pronunciation of our voiceless sounds. So those are the verbs where the ed will have the t sound at the end because they have a voiceless consonant at the end of the word. So looking at these, a good idea to practice this. Make sure whenever you do practice that you are emphasizing that last t sound. Try and do it very hard. When you say that t, your teeth should be together, your lips should be open, and make sure you should feel that breath coming out of your mouth when you do that. So t, and it should kind of shoot some air generally down towards your chest when you say that t sound, and do it hard. Okay? So, we'll just move on to the first voiceless consonant sound. Remember, these are not the letters themselves, but the sounds at the end of the words. So there could be a variety of spellings, but they still might have the same pronunciation at the end of that word. Okay? So the first one to look at here is the voiceless K. This would be a K sound. Again, a voiceless. When you say a voiceless sound, if you put your fingers up to your vocal cords up by your throat, under your Adam's apple or above it, you will not feel any vibration when you say that K sound. You might feel your throat move a little bit up and down because the air is pushing out, but there will be no vibration as you do that. So the first word we have with this K sound is kick, which becomes kicked, kicked, kicked. And I'll try and say it 3 times, the third time pronouncing it as I would normally pronounce it, where the other 2 times will be kind of emphasizing that ed. The next one, is attack, which becomes attacked, attacked, attacked. Next up is cook, which becomes cooked, cooked, cooked. And the last one here would be lick, which becomes licked, licked, licked. The next sound we have is a f sound. Again, this is pushing that air out through your teeth, essentially. You put your teeth on your lips and f, and your lips should kind of flare out as you do this. But it'll be a f sound, like fan or fairy or funny. That's the sound we're looking for here. The first example we have is puff. When that ed is added there, it would be puffed, puffed, puffed. Next up is staff. Becomes staffed, staffed, staffed. Next up would be laugh. Becomes laughed, laughed, laughed. Now notice there the spelling is not an F at the end, it's a GH, but it's the pronunciation of that last sound that it indicates what the sound will be for that ed. Okay. Next up we have stuff, which becomes stuffed, stuffed. The next sound would be a P sound, like pot or pan or Patrick or pray. So this is where you're letting that air come out of your mouth, a little bit different from that B sound. Again, this is an aspirated sound. It has air actually coming out when you do it. So our voiceless P sound, for example, rip, becomes ripped, ripped, ripped. The next one would be sip, sipped, sipped, sipped. Next up, jump, jump, jumped, jumped, jumped. The next word would be pop. Becomes popped, popped, popped. The next sound, now a couple of the words sounds coming up really have a similar sound to the next one that we have. It's this s sound. Now there's quite a few sounds that really kind of end with this sound, that blowing the air out of your teeth like that s sound like a snake. And there's a lot of sounds that kind of come close to this, and really anyone that comes really close to it is going to still have that voiceless T sound to end it. So the first one would be confess, becomes confessed, confessed, confessed. Next, notice the spelling might be different here, but introduce becomes introduced, introduced. It's all about that last sound, introduced. Next, kiss becomes kissed, kissed, kissed. Again, another one with the spelling a little bit different, but still that same s sound at the end would be race, becomes raced, raced, raced. The next sound actually has a s sound at the end. It's kind of like a k s mixed together as that X. So it has the same voiceless sound, like fix becomes fixed, fixed, fixed. Next up would be relax. Relax becomes relaxed, relaxed, relaxed. Next, perplex becomes perplexed, perplexed, perplexed. And flex becomes flexed, flexed, flexed. Now here's some of our other sounds here, like that CH, that ch, like chips, or chair, or cheap, cheer. So if it has that ch sound at the end, then it will have a voiceless t sound with the ed, like reach becomes reached, reached, reached. Next up, watch becomes watched, 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 watched. Then match becomes matched, matched, matched. And attach becomes attached, attached, attached. The next sound we have is another sound, shh, like be quiet, or sheep, or shape. So this would be something like wash becomes washed, washed, washed. Another word, abolish becomes abolished, abolished, abolished. Then wish becomes wished, wished, wished. And the last one here, smash becomes smashed, smashed, smashed. So, to close that out again, we're looking at those voiceless sounds at the end of our verbs that make those past tense regular verbs into a t sound with that ed. So again, look over those, practice them out loud, make sure when you're practicing, enunciate, and make sure you're saying that really strongly, pronounce that t at the end. Blow that air out really hard so you can actually feel it on your chest when you do it, perhaps. But make sure you're emphasizing and exaggerating it. The more you do that, it'll make it more natural, develop your muscles in your mouth so that it just becomes natural for you to do it, and you'll lose any sort of accent you might have. It'll also help you hear those sounds a little better as well. So go ahead and practice that some more. You can go back and listen to it and practice along with it. Try and find any examples you can to practice by yourself.